I didn't believe in roads that trap people. I do now. If you drive long enough at night, you start to understand something most people never experience: the highway is a living thing. It breathes in the dark. It stretches. It rearranges itself in ways you won't notice unless you're paying very close attention. And that's the problem. Most of us aren't. When I lost my job, I told myself one thing: I will not sit still. Unemployment has a way of shrinking your world. Days blur. Phone calls slow down. You begin measuring time in rejections and silence. I could feel myself sinking into that rhythm, and I refused to let it swallow me. So when my uncle called and said he needed a co-driver for a long-haul run, I agreed before he finished the sentence. I still had my CDL. He had 30 years behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler. It felt straightforward. Drive. Deliver. Get paid. Move forward. That's what roads are supposed to do. They connect point A to point B. They obey maps. They respect distance. What no one tells you is that sometimes the road decides it doesn't want to take you anywhere at all. My uncle was the kind of man who trusted memory over machines. He could navigate 3 states without glancing at a map. He didn't like GPS, said it made drivers lazy. Said if you didn't know the land would humble you. We rolled out just before dusk. The sky was bleeding orange behind the tree line, and the trailer hummed with that low mechanical vibration you feel more than hear. Night driving isn't for everybody, he said, adjusting the mirrors. I asked him what he meant. You start seeing things. He smiled. But his eyes didn't move. I thought he was talking about deer darting across lanes. Fog banks rolling in low. Fatigue playing tricks on depth perception. I didn't know he meant something else. The first few hours were routine. The highway stretched ahead in a steady ribbon of black. Occasional headlights drifted past in the opposite lane. The radio signal faded in and out, replaced by static that rose and fell like breathing. There's a rhythm to night driving. The tires create a steady white noise. The dashboard lights glow softly. The world beyond the windshield feels distant, almost unreal. Around midnight, we pulled into a rest area. It was empty. Not quiet. Empty. There's a difference. Quiet implies life somewhere nearby, sleeping, resting, waiting. Empty feels abandoned. The vending machines hummed under fluorescent lights that flickered every few seconds. The air felt still, heavy, like it hadn't been disturbed in hours. Even the sound of our truck's engine ticking as it cooled seemed muted, swallowed by the open space. I remember standing there with a bag of chips in my hand, staring at the parking lot. No cars. No RVs. No late-night travelers. Just us. This place feels paused, I said. My uncle didn't respond. He was watching the tree line. We got back on the road. And that's when the change began. At first, it was subtle. The road felt narrower. Not physically, the lane markers were exactly where they should be, but the darkness pressed closer. The trees seemed taller, denser. Shadows overlapped in layers that made it difficult to judge distance. The GPS flickered once. Signal lost. Then it returned. I told myself it was nothing. Then we saw it. A tunnel. Long concrete. Unmarked. It rose out of the darkness where open highway should have been. My uncle's foot eased off the accelerator. I've driven this route 100 times, he said quietly. There's no tunnel here. No construction signs. No orange cones. No detour notices. Just a gaping mouth in the earth where flatland had always been. We should have turned around. We didn't. The truck entered the tunnel, and the world changed instantly. Sound sharpened. The hum of the tires echoed too clearly, bouncing off the walls in a way that felt wrong. The air inside was thick, dense enough that my ears popped like we were descending into deep water. The headlights didn't illuminate the far end. It stretched farther than it should have. Longer. Longer. I checked the dashboard clock. 30 seconds had passed. It felt like minutes. When we finally emerged on the other side, I expected relief. Instead, I felt confusion. The highway ahead was unrecognizable. No exit signs. No mile markers. No reflective posts. Just an endless black stretch disappearing into the night. We drove. 10 minutes. 20. An hour. No vehicles passed us. No headlights in the distance. No radio signal. The GPS screen froze on a blank grid. My uncle checked the clock. Then checked it again. "It ain't right," he whispered. I had never heard fear in his voice before. Then we saw lights ahead. A rest area. Relief hit me so hard my vision blurred for a second. Until we pulled in. Same vending machines. Same flickering overhead light. Same crack in the pavement near the curb. It was the exact rest stop we had left. We hadn't moved forward. We had looped. Silence filled the cab. Not the comfortable kind. The suffocating kind. My uncle turned the truck around. We drove back the way we'd come. The road twisted in ways that didn't match memory. Curves where there had been straightaways. Slight inclines that made no geographical sense. And then. The tunnel appeared again. Longer this time. Darker. Colder. We didn't speak as we entered it. Halfway through, the headlights flickered. Just once. But in that split second of darkness, I felt something shift around us. As if the space inside the tunnel wasn't fixed. As if it expanded when we weren't looking directly at it. When we emerged. The same empty highway. No signs. No exits. Repetition. My uncle began talking about stories he'd heard over the years. Stories shared over coffee at truck stops. Roads that trapped drivers. Highways that folded back into themselves. Routes that didn't exist on any map. He said some drivers vanished. Others made it out. But they were never right after, he said. We drove. Every exit we attempted curved back. Every mile marker we searched for was missing. The sky never changed. The stars remained frozen in position. It felt like we were driving inside a moment that refused to move forward. "If we're still here at sunrise," he began. He didn't finish. He didn't have to. On our next approach to the tunnel, I did something I hadn't considered before. I took a picture. Just the entrance. Proof. Because I knew, even then, this would sound impossible. Inside the tunnel, the air felt heavier than before. My chest tightened. The hum of the engine seemed distant, as if we were driving underwater. My uncle was whispering prayers. I had never seen him pray. When we emerged, the landscape was different. The trees were thinner. The sky looked lighter. And in the distance, we saw something real. A truck stop. Bright lights. Parked rigs. Movement. We pulled in fast. Inside the diner, everything looked ordinary. Conversations. Coffee refills. A muted television mounted in the corner. The normalcy was almost offensive. My uncle's hands wouldn't stop shaking. Neither would mine. I found another driver studying a map and asked him how long he'd been running this route. 20 years, he said. I showed him the photo. His face changed. There's no tunnel out here, he said flatly. Flatland for miles. No mountains. No underpasses. I stared at the image on my phone. Concrete entrance. Dark interior. Undeniable. And yet, according to him, it didn't exist. We finished our meal in silence. Back on the road, there was no tunnel. No strange curves. No looping rest area. Just open highway under a normal sky. We reached our delivery early. Ahead of schedule. As if we had never lost time at all. Before deleting the photo, I opened it one last time. The image looked darker. The tunnel entrance barely visible now. Almost faded. As if it didn't want to be remembered. My uncle never drove overnight again. He never mentioned that route. But sometimes, when I'm alone on a long stretch of highway at night, I notice things. The road narrowing slightly. The trees pressing closer. A flicker in the GPS signal. And I think about what he told me before we ever saw that tunnel. Night driving isn't for everybody. Because once you notice the road bending. Once you feel the air grow heavier. Once you realize the map might not apply anymore. You understand something that stays with you. Some highways don't connect cities. Some highways connect you to a place that exists just outside explanation. And if you ever see a tunnel that shouldn't be there, don't assume it leads somewhere. It might be waiting. Welcome to Hidden Screams. Drive carefully tonight.